I'm not exactly certain who this is going to reach, but you must take the time to let this absorb within your conscience. Listen carefully. In the midst of this terrible pandemic, we need everything that we can indulge into. This metaphoric poem, I wrote this when I was sad. There's a moral for this, and I will communicate that at the end of the video. The light source. I traveled deep within the catacombs of the forest. I treaded far and vast, and came across what looked to be a fading forest fire. Its embers were out of control, vibrant and heated. It was persistent and nearly created an enormous disaster. Fuel sources were fleeing from the untamable flame. A light so beautiful in its own way, I felt the need to preserve it. When the other sources of fuel were gone, the luminous ember became big enough to hold. It had still been uncontrollably vibrant and difficult to maintain, but just enough fuel kept it burning. I made this light of flame my very own and traveled with it day by day for a long time. Strangely enough, this fuel was assisting me in moving on in my adventures. It was just what I needed. The light and I had strange moments together. It would dance in such an embarrassing way. That didn't make me want to be rid of it any more than anything it did. Even if it burned my favorite books or wooden crafts. It only made me appreciate it more, simply because of its strange and unusual behavior. I've never seen anything like it. I fed this fire different kinds of fuel, which taught it principles. Over time, it gained control over its burning. A year later, unfamiliar fuel sources leapt under me, through me, and over me. Soon enough, the luminous ember I felt attached to burned through my grasp and fell into the embrace of other fuel sources. The unfamiliar fuels caught my unique, beautiful, flickering flame, leaving not a stitch of a trail. Day by day, the wondrous light accelerated gradually, and the forest became darker for me. The light had finally disappeared, leaving me in the dark completely. Using bits and pieces of my flesh it burned through, I made the effort to rekindle the fire along with my fuel, using a jar. I spent minutes at a time, day by day, using flint and steel, striking repetitively, trying desperately to set that ember off once again. The jar sparkled, but did not light. I tried once again the next day using the same flint and steel, striking repetitively, trying desperately to set that ember off once again. The jar trickled, but did not light. I attempted once again the very next day, using flint, steel, and a little more fuel. I struck repetitively, trying eagerly to set that ember off again. The jar flickered, but it seemed impossible. Seeing as to how everything I've done didn't work, I felt that there was something that I have not tried yet. I chose to overindulge the set in fuel and struck the flint and steel into the jar again, but I created an explosion. The beautiful flame turned into a sinister will-o-wisp. The purple and burgundy colors pushed me away, further back into the forest. So I fled and stayed in the darkness, and the will-o-wisp faded into nothingness. The forest, once again, became dark, with no light to bring goodness. Wondering what went wrong, I bothered it no more. The metaphors in here should be blatant for you. I don't know if you understood or not, but I'll translate. The flame is basically what you care about. The fuel and fuel sources The fuel is friendship. The fuel sources, it's people. The flint and steel, it's basically you texting and calling and whatever you do to get in contact with those you care about. The jar is your phone, or your laptop, or your camera, or whatever you use to contact those people. Trying desperately to set that ember off once again, meaning doing your very best to get in contact with whoever you care about. Understand, people, we are in the midst of a pandemic. You don't know what's going to happen next. Take this seriously. Whoever you are neglecting to reach out to, I encourage you to do it now. Whatever problems you have between that person or those people or whatever it may be, solve your crap. I hope this reached your heart. Thank you, and God bless you. God bless us all.